I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I really do love The Grinch. I'm specifically talking about the 1966 short, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And what's not to love about it? Dr. Seuss's writing is timeless. The same goes for the Chuck Jones animation. It's still beautiful even today. I bet that you'd never guess that this came out in the 1960s if I didn't tell you. Boris Karloff as the narrator is just perfect casting.
Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
Very few others could play a villain such as the Grinch so expertly. And then there's the song, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch.
People tend to forget about it when best villain song discussions come up, because, well, it's from a Christmas short. But I definitely think it's up there in the echelons of the greats. Hellfire, Biggering, Be Prepared. So, something recently came out, and I had to tilt my head a little when I saw it. It was a Walmart commercial. Now, the Grinch as a brand is no stranger to commercialism. This might sound ironic, considering that the message and the heart of the short and the book is literally anti-commercialism.
Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
But this is far from the first time that the Grinch has ever shilled product. Even product other than its own. Off the top of my head, there's a Hallmark commercial back in the 90s, and a few years ago, Capital One had a commercial starring the Grinch. Capital One is a bank, if you're not familiar with it. And the animation was, the best that you can find on the Philips CDI.
My boy.
This is gonna be in my nightmares tonight. Although I guess that brings me back to the Walmart commercial. The first thing that struck me was how it perfectly captured the Chuck Jones art style. Like, all of the expressions are spot on. They even nailed the body language. Honestly, at a point I thought that it might have been like AMV'd, and this was just new dialogue on top of old clips, with Walmart boxes edited in. But like, no, even the new characters in it aren't out of place at all. Ignoring the fact that this Walmart delivery guy doesn't fit in here at all, he fits in here perfectly with all the other Whos. The Grinch's voice is a little bit off.
I'll stop these Santas and flip their smiles around.
But the narrator matches Karloff's cadence quite well.
The Grinch found his heart, and Whoville Christmas cheer was miles off the chart.
This commercial kind of broke my brain, all things considered. It's amazing how it so truly captured the heart of the 1960s short, while not understanding a single thing about it. So if you haven't seen it, in the short, the Grinch steals all the presents. However, in the commercial, he changes his heart in the end, because toys are cool. Buy stuff from Walmart, it'll stop you from being evil. It doesn't even make sense from a narrative perspective. The Grinch steals the presents because he wants to stop the Whos from celebrating Christmas. In this version, he steals them, and he actually uses the presents. And he finds them fun. Isn't that more incentive to keep the presents? Like, from a Grinch perspective, he's called the Grinch. It should go without saying that this commercial is all kinds of perverted. You know exactly what I mean by that. The commercial is literally the opposite of what the original Grinch stood for. And the live-action movie even. And maybe even the Illumination one. I don't know, I haven't seen that one, and I'm probably not going to. Although that does remind me. This commercial reminds me a lot of Illumination's Lorax. Yeah, let's all save the environment together. But first, you want to buy this SUV? And I'm obviously not the first person to think this. You're not the first person to think this. On YouTube, the short has a negative like-to-dislike ratio because it's the obvious thing to think. But here's the insidious thing about commercials. It does not matter in the slightest if they're bad. The only thing that matters is that we're talking about them.
Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on. Available at Walgreens.
As a story and a message and an adaptation, it's heinous. But as a commercial, it's interesting. And because it's interesting, it's probably successful as a commercial. We're talking about it, aren't we? It's the kind of thing that makes you want to complain about it on Twitter. Or X, whatever. Oh my god, guys, have you seen what Walmart did to the Grinch? And then the next day we're all talking about it and Walmart is untrending. It's called outrage marketing. No, for a bad commercial to actually be bad as a commercial, it's gotta be really bad and actually embarrass the brand itself. For example, the Lucky Charms rap.
Heart Star, Horseshoe, Clover, and Blue Moon. Hourglass, Rainbow, and also Red Balloon.
Which the corporation tried as hard as they could to scrub from the internet, but you can't do that, Kellogg's, because I still have it. Yes, this existed, and someone tried to sell cereal with it. Technically, by talking about this commercial, I'm falling right into Walmart's trap. I'm giving the commercial more attention. But I have an excuse. I'm informing you all of this little trick. Seriously, they've been doing this for a while now. Not Walmart specifically, but just corporate America in general. Outrage marketing has been like the top trend for all of the 2010s. This is because anger is the emotion that goes viral the most. And if you can poke it in just the right way that you don't get too much blowback, well, all attention is good attention, right? If there's anyone to actually be angry at, it's the Seuss estate. Because what's happening to Seuss's brand is, the kind of thing that fills me with an existential dread. Calling someone a sellout is a tacky move, but after Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat, there's no other word I can use. Tacky or not. In response to the negative reception of that movie, the estate said that they wouldn't allow any more live-action Seuss movies. Because, you know, giving the properties to Illumination is so much more respectful. No, these are way better. As someone who does call himself an artist and does care a lot about artistic integrity, it forces me to wonder, you know, how is my stuff, whatever it's worth in the end, going to be treated after I'm gone? Most likely, it'll be legally untouchable for like a century because that's how copyright works, because stupid mouse man. For most people without an estate, which is most people, or someone to carry their copyrights, this means their work is basically going to be forgotten in that century after they die, which is absolutely terrible for creatives. It's one of the aspects of current copyright law that we don't actually talk about. And it's probably a video in and of itself. On the other side though, if you do get an estate, is this what waits on the other side? Is this what artistic immortality looks like? The Who's going to Walmart? Honestly, I don't know which fate is sadder. I think that I've said this publicly before, but like not officially, but I want it to be known that when I do die, I want all of my creative works to be in the public domain the second that I die. Because from that second onward, they are of no use to me anyway. I can't do anything with them. Any chance for profit or fame or whatever is gone. As I said, I don't know exactly what my own works are worth, but it'd probably rest my soul better to give them to the whole of humanity than being forgotten or whatever this is. Also, as a side note, I discovered while I was making this script, the commercial on YouTube was marked as for kids. I don't know if this was automatically done by YouTube because it's animation, or someone at Walmart did it intentionally, but this kind of thing seems not quite right. It's literally a commercial, and toys are some of the things that are shilled in it. It feels kind of scummy, like an entirely different kind of scummy. It feels very unethical. Walmart, 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 Walmart,